So I figured I'd do this part of the vid before you get to the main part, because it's the next part is, I'll just say it's purely theory, but because of things that have been stated to me by primarily, I'll just say two specific people, it caused me to have a lot of questions. Because yes, a lot of this has spawned off of all ironies. This has spawned off of my situation with all the abuse that I've been going through with my son's mom for so long until finally walked away. I've learned enough truth to realize my family. I'm pretty sure my family's pretty fucking dirty, and I don't like saying bad things about family. It's just, when I can go back and pull this stuff. I would have to go and really scroll through, but there's a couple things that raised a flag to me. One, why would the comment when I never brought it up to that person about where my kids and even his kids are concerned, the comment was, as long as you don't leave leave your parents' house. So just put it that way, leave your parents' house, because I'll put a screenshot right here, and as long as you don't leave our parents' house, you don't have to worry about the grandkids, because you don't want anything to happen to them. So why would that be brought up when my concern hasn't been them? Because as far as I know, my older son, is halfway across the country. My younger son is like 2 hours south, and I don't see him wasting the time to be doing the stalking stuff. And his kids, other than his two boys, his daughter's in Northern California, the other one's in Japan. So why would I be worried about grandkids? So is he talking about cousins? Now, would these be cousins on my mom's side or my dad's side? Or some of these others? Because I can name one that he made the comment about meeting here recently. Oh, one of our distant cousins, so-and-so. I'll just use the initials LHD. And then because of that, it just like things start coming together. And then I think my mom has a dirty secret. I'll just say that. I think my mom has a dirty secret, and because of her health and the situation she's in, she either doesn't know, remember, or whatever. But when my brother made it very clear that we have almost no non-white DNA in our blood, that's all mostly like Western, Eastern European. I want you to keep in mind what you're going to see here after this, and then the theory situation. Like I said, it's a theory, because this whole thing has been a big, weird fucking shit show. Anyways, enjoy. Okay, I've been sitting here jumbling out the math in my head and all this weird stuff while I'm eating my toast, because that's really all I got to eat. I'm sorry. One, I already know my brother knows a specific someone. Between military service, between that, Jim, all that. The fact that my brother doesn't look like my dad, and I know my dad always got upset, questioned whether or not my brother and him were related. Well, my brother Joe has been doing his DNA stuff. Like, all of his genetics are pretty much just like, almost like 100% European. Where with my dad, I have in messages between, on one of my Facebook profiles that I had disconnected or whatever, and it was messages between myself and my cousin Adrian. And because we had gotten the DNA genetics of my dad. My mom had them done. My dad has genetics, not just Scottish, Irish, German, and all that. Polish. He's got Native American, and we know this. I know this because these were in the messages that that my mom had sent me when they did my dad's DNA stuff. You have Native American. We basically have, like, I guess you could say Mexican. I guess it's the easiest thing to put it, Latin American or whatever. All that. I've pretty much been made out of mama's boy by my family, even though I'm the black sheep of the family. My mom's throwing me under so many buses. But the question is, the family secret is one of them, because there's so many. Trust me, there's a lot. Kind of like my cousin Connie is actually like one of my, not sure if he's like a second cousin or like another uncle type. I think he's a second cousin Dave instead of my Aunt Lindell's husband Dave. They're cousins. So yeah, she's inbred. Let alone, she went from Connie to all these other names because she converted. So do I have anything against Islam? Actually, I don't. Every person that I've met from that faith has actually really been really awesome people. That's like when I start thinking about my whole family. More shit that's going on. The abuse that's going on there too. You know, even from, you know, there was a lot of physical and sexual abuse that got on with my mom and them as children too, from their dad, my grandpa and them. And even their stepdad, or my grandpa Lloyd. Yes, I looked up to some of these people. Some of these things I didn't learn about until afterwards. I learned about my grandpa a long time ago, my grandpa Ken, because of my brother John. After what I went through with him and all. My mom talked a lot about that. But anyways, like I said, if you only knew my family. I dealt with a lot of abuse in this family. And this family has had a history of it. And at like 8 or 9, I did everything I could to stay away from it. But I still ended up dealing with the abuse from my mom and them. I still ended up, I still ended up dealing with the abuse from my mom and them. I don't think my brothers have memories of, being on their couch in their room, getting up to go to school, high school and all that stuff, and have our mom standing over them with an acoustic guitar threatening to kill them with it. Or have one morning while sitting on the couch watching cartoons, waiting to go to school, and go to ask if it was okay to get some lunch money. and have her go from one side of the living room to the other, grab me by my fucking hair, and wring my head back and forth as hard as she could, threatening to kill me, while my dad's stepping in the middle of it, telling me to stop. Or how about, do they have memories of our mom throwing glass coffee mugs full of hot coffee at them and having it shatter on their legs right in front of your child's mother and your friends as you're going out the door because you're arguing with them and you're trying to get away from them? That shit progressed to my mom shutting the doors, locking you in, blocking me in, to gaslight a situation, then turn around. Yeah, they're doing everything they could to make me out crazy. She went around telling everybody I was a fucking schizo. I'm not schizo. No, I don't hear voices and all that shit. The irony is that people can question that shit because of what I've been pointing out here, but I've already proven it more than once. You can mess with somebody's Roku account. You can once you log into it, not from any TV, and you share that same account, you can go to any of those apps. If you're logged into that account, any of those apps not and those TV channels you go to not will show and string up on there. People know what cryptography is. And excuse me. One thing I do know, the naval folks do know their cryptography. It's, yeah, kind of in there. But then, you know, I also took in recognition that one of the things that my mom used to get bashed for is she spent most of her time sleeping while my brother Joe was, you know, whatever, being raised by my aunts and them. Like my Aunt Lindell and all that. So that's, you know, I'm already aware of the connection there. Because, yeah, she already said that all the years that... all those years, I mean, all those fucking years... You know, especially while my son's mom was, yeah, of course, married to my cousin. Her and I met in high school. She didn't get with him until after because, again, my mother's family. Wow. She already flat out said during those 12 years, my brother and them spent more time with my aunt and them than he would with his own mom. And part of it was because he felt that she was more of a mom to him than our own mom. That type of bullshit. See, you know, there's also other things that have been hinted to me, like, you know, kind of aside from this, you know, on this stuff. You know, outside of him telling me that he was, you know, getting divorced from his wife, only to, you know, not to tell mom and dad and all this stuff. But then find out over Christmas and all that stuff he wasn't divorced, that they were there. So then I've got the question of why bring up grandkids? Why worry about grandkids? You know, as long as I stay with, you know, mom and dad, I don't have to worry about the grandkids. Other than my two boys, what is it with the rest? And what did they have to do with these other groups linked to the situation where my son's mom and her girlfriend and all of them are concerned, along with the other guy and all that whole situation? Let alone, I already know, again, her connection goes back to my cousin Jake, her ex-husband, which his mom is my aunt that I've been talking about, which was like the mom to my brother type situation. Do you understand how big fucked up thing is going through? Down to, I now realize, like, even where some friends are concerned. Like, I understand that there's some really dirty things that had gone on that even my child's mom did, even where friends are concerned, and not just, yeah. They all did some really fucked up things. And the idea I'm being at the expense of these really weird fucked up things, again, as I've been saying, that's how I'm just boiling it down to. And combining that with all the bullshit that I've been have been dealing with, where my older son's mom's concerned, and being aware that of where a family inheritance is concerned, where my dad's concerned, and the fact that I'm also aware that, and I've very much become aware because there's a possibility of a couple people possibly being like half brother and sister. That's what I'm saying. I got a feeling I saw a picture of my brother's real dad, because he looks just like my brother. And the idea they met our cousin, you know, or distant cousin who happened to be in relation to that same person, because he named her out himself. That means, like, none of his grandkids, in that sense, have any relations to my dad. That means, if by possibility, Kenneth, because height in your child is dictated by the father's side of the family normally. My whole side of the family are all short. I mean, and again, on genetic wise, we even got genetics going back to small droplets of Armenian and stuff like that. It's not straight back Scottish, French. That's my mom's family. That's my mom's DNA. I have the DNA stuff that, like I said, on one of my old Facebook accounts that I haven't used, sending this stuff to my cousin Punk. Because Native American runs on that side of the family, on my dad's side of the family. So, are a bunch of people, like, pulling some fucked up shit because they think they're going to get something where my dad and them are concerned? Or what's going on? Is that why they're alienating my mom and them? That's why my mom ended up with a stroke because of the stress of the kids and family? And is that what they were trying to do to me? And my dad's having health problems right now? Because I have a feeling that my dad's, he's talking about tumors and stuff, but I have a feeling like my dad might have cancer. Or it might be turning cancerous. So there's some things that I've got some serious questions about. And in all honesty, I'd like to leave. Like, there's some serious questions I have now. This is all, I'm going to say, flat out theory. But again, it's all revolving around my mom's older sister, nephew and niece, my older brother, I should say oldest brother, my son's mother, and from there, it goes into my children and all these others. And, if the situation where Kenneth's concerned reigns true, doesn't mean I think of him less or anything like that. No, I don't, actually. Because regardless of the relationship between him and I, and how, at the moment, the struggles that we have with each other, he's always going to be my son to me. I'm always going to love him as my son, whether he hates me or not, and whether I don't like the shit he's been doing or not. From day one, that's how it's always been. So, yeah, my son being like 6 foot, and you go, oh, he got it from his mom's side, everyone's want. This sounds like a cover. Like, I don't really have those questions where Kristen's concerned. I look at him, I look at Christopher, and I'm like, yeah. I just don't have those questions. Kenneth, I didn't really have those questions, but then, yeah, I started looking at my old buddy, my old friend, and I started looking at her, because, the whole face swap thing, the face swap picture thing, I'd have to try and find it again if I hadn't deleted it, but when you swap his face and her face, it looks just like hers and my son, too. So that's where yeah. But I feel like a lot of this has to do with some sort of fucked up, stupid family bullshit of some sort of inheritance shit. Does this have to do with my grandpa? Does this have to do with my dad? Is this why Melissa was adamant to try and get the courts to think that I was Jacob Hartman? While it feels like somebody else has been trying to, act like they're me or some shit. Like, there's been some weird shit. And that's what I'm telling you. All this stuff can be backed up. And down to the text messages, all that stuff. It can be backed up. And the idea that I know that at least a few people are very, very computer tech savvy. In fact, they work in that field. So I've got a lot of questions now. And honestly, I wonder, do I post this? Because, yeah, I feel like there's some really fucked up shit. Because, like I said, including what I have, everything that I've said before this vid, like where my son's mom's concerned, what I've been dealing with that. We've been dealing with the threats, the cyber stalking, all that shit. Why? Because I come to realize that, yeah. My brother Joe keeps going, yeah, everything is French, Russian, Scottish, that type of stuff. And Welsh and everything. That's my mom's genetics. I had both my mom's DNA and my dad's DNA sent to me by my mom. And in fact, they're in one of her computers. And they were in her computer, one of them. But I have the shit for my dad that I sent to my cousin Adrian from one of my old Facebook profiles on there. The other stuff from my mom, if it's not in my Yahoo email, my old Yahoo email, yeah, no, that's where it would be. Is my dad's genetics was, like I said, Scottish, Irish, German. They have Native American, Latin American. We even had Nicaraguan in there. A couple little tiny droplets of Armenian. And then German, Polish, which realistically you'd see Russian in there. That's why with my dad I see like a spitting resemblance between him and Lermontov over there in Russia. So yeah, I've got all kinds of questions because it's like, this is a big weird fucked up family conspiracy thing like it going on in my head, like that's itching at my brain. Like, really? Is this probably why the family wants everybody to think I'm fucking crazy? I mean, my brother and them seem to think that I'm the golden child when my parents didn't carry me through life like that. Most of my shit was hand-me-downs. Most of my shit was hand-me-downs. It wasn't until in high school I got a couple new bikes. Like 2 or 3 bikes. Like a dumbass teenager being hard on their bikes and wrecking their bikes. I did that like 2 or 3 times, but I was getting Kmart bikes. It's not like, I was getting these Giants and all that stuff. I wasn't getting anything. I was getting lucky to get $60, $70 bikes. Did I ever complain about it? No, I loved my bikes. That's the whole thing. I loved my bikes. I enjoyed going on bike rides and building forts and doing all that shit like any other kid. I had my mom going around trying to convince everybody that I was schizophrenic. She was the one, like, when I was seeing the doctors and all that, and they would ask questions, like what you see in the interview video that I have with her and my doctor, and my old doctor, my first doctor, Dr. Linda Nishi Stratner, back from when I was a child and all that. Man, my mom, she was eating that up, because she's like, oh, I'm getting an interview? This type of shit? Yeah. So, I mean, no, I've got questions now. Like, I mean, I can go as far as like, yeah, there's only like, let's see here. Well, I would have to say what? Yeah. I don't want to throw too much out there, but yeah, it makes me question now. This goes into the Chamberlain families, this goes into the Brazil families, all this stuff. Like, there's all kinds of weird shit. So it's like, I just don't understand the link of that stuff. It mainly evolves around primarily my mom's older sister, that family, my older brother, my older son's mom, and then somehow all the grandkids, all this shit. Like, what, everybody get paid off or something? Like, what the fuck is going on here? I've already made it clear. If it has something to do with my dad and them and what my dad's got going, I don't want anything from that. I actually I don't want anything from that. If that's what this is about, I don't want anything from that. My parents helped me out. And when the home gets sold, I get to have the enjoyment of paying them back for giving me a chance for investing in me like that. 'Cause I'm about to fuck that up, and I already know people have been trying everything they can to fuck that up for me. Between the electric bill and all that, like, that's up to like $800 because I'm drowning, and I haven't even been down there. It's because it's the backup bill type bullshit. I got left with a massive bill, which also was on a video down below, and I'm already aware that somebody was, yeah. Except, well, I don't know how many times I'd watch her get text messages, you know, and before she get text messages, and all of a sudden, there's an argument that happens shortly after, or some bullshit gets pulled. So it's like, there's been a lot of really weird shit going on. Like, my mom's family's a big family, but I can't help but sit back and say it just narrows down to those specific people. And given the connections to certain groups when it comes to my aunt's daughter, firstborn. I mean, I know that family used to foster kids a lot and adopt, do all this other shit, and yeah. And then there was a whole abuse thing going on between two of their foster kids and all that stuff. I also know my family was, linked into the, with Mr. Dayton Roy Rogers, you know, and my cousin is one of his victims. Like, there's a lot of really weird shit in my family. That's what I'm telling you. So it's like, what is this about? And is there possible relations in that direction? I don't know. But overall, like, why? Why? Like, why was the situation with, you know, if as long as you stay at you know, our parents' place, then you don't have to worry about the grandkids. When that was never, ever, ever brought up about being worried about the grandkids. So what's their part in this? So there was a slip there. Yeah, and that other vid that I did, which I was working on this theory, yeah, I'll pop that up. Actually, no. I'll just put this. I have the text messages and all, and I'll slap. I mean, I've already screenshotted one of them that led me to start questioning all this. And like, wait a minute, because here's all the dots right here. So what the fuck's been going on here? You know, like, yeah. I've got questions. I'm not about fighting, but at the same time, it's like, all this stuff has been, it's been all in a, it's been weird and fucked up. Like, I know the situation where my son's mom, her girlfriend, and her husband, and the other guy up in Hood River, and all these people were their own deal, but then I also recognize there is a connection, too, from that, when it came to, an old foster sister of mine. Like I said, my family used to foster kids. An old foster sister of mine and her brother, I realized that, wait a minute, there was a connection between the tattoo art, I'll just say the two tattoo artists. I'll just say it that way. So there I saw the other family connection, which that family member literally lived like 3-4 streets down from my aunt. Like, there's a lot of really fucked up things going on. And then through all this, the effort to pretty much put me in a situation where I'm not only fucking poor and all that, I may, you know, I'll maybe end up at the point of losing my home here soon because I'm financially strapped. I have a feeling that my son's mom and her friend and them were attempting to try and claim that I'm insane. Because I don't know how many times she tried having me locked up. I don't know how many times even others have tried having me locked up for shit. And it's like, I don't see shit and I don't hear shit. I don't hear voices in my head. I don't have people telling me to go do this and do that. The odd part of it, like I said, I've already proved it. About using cryptography through the Roku. And the fact that you can sign into somebody's account from another TV anywhere else and is get all the apps that they have downloaded. So that's what they would have done. They would have turned around, logged into the account, which once you log in, it downloads all the apps that it had saved under that account at one point, or on the different TVs that are linked to that account. And so then they can go to each one and do their thing. So for all I know, they had to go and activate my Netflix account to go get into Netflix, because I don't have Netflix on this TV. I got rid of all that. I had got rid of Netflix a while ago. And so people are obviously, just like my ex was doing, using my identity to go and get other people to pay for her electric bill so she can save her money. What is the purpose of this family to, like, why? Like, what is going on here? And in all honesty, I do want to be away from it. Because there's been way too much fucked up shit, and it's like, no, this is opening one door after another. And it's like, okay, my family's obviously into some very bad things, and I don't want to be a part of it. That's basically what it's turning into. And I'm not talking about my dad either. Yeah, I feel like my mom knew something, and she had enough she went through a bunch of stress, and whatever it was that she couldn't talk about is what helped lead her into this type of situation. Outside of the fact that the family kept alienating her the same way that my kids, their mothers, and the rest of the family has been doing to me. And has also been doing to my parents. So long as I'm here, no, they don't want to hurt the grandparents, but they're waiting for grandparents to die. Why? So I've got a narcissistic family and a brother that possibly has or more, I should say more than likely has a different dad than I do. Because I'm aware of my dad's genetics. It's not Scottish straightback. My dad knows what it is. My dad knows the truth, I think. Joe knows the truth. The fact that my mom tried to cover it up. Go, oh, no. Your brother got the DNA stuff done. Really? Because when he did his DNA and all this stuff and has been doing it, it does not match Dad's genetics that I got from... that I already got from my mom and them from when it got done and was sent to our cousin Adrian. So if that was the case, our cousin Adrian and all that, our cousin Gary, my brother John, all them, they would have no Native American in them. They would have no Nicaraguan in them at all. Like, there's a bit of it. They wouldn't have any of that. They wouldn't have Latin American, which through Navajo, through the Navajo and Native American. And we also have Cheyenne Blackfeet. So, yeah, okay. It's not just Scotch, Irish, French, Welsh, English, German. Because I know there's German on my dad's side there. Into Russian and all that stuff. Which there's also Russian on my dad's side of the family. But, because the Duncan family, the Scottish lineage, went into Poland. Which happened to be Lermontov's family. Lermontov's dad was a Duncan. His mom was a Russian aristocrat. I mean, you slap my dad's picture, especially with his black glasses on from back in the day, for the military glasses. Take a picture of him, put it right next to Lermontov, and put a pair of those black glasses on Lermontov, and you're like, holy shit, that's your dad, dude. That's your fucking dad. That's through the Polish lineage of that. And so, to sit there and listen to my brother go, oh no, there's very little Native American, this, that, and the other. No, there's plenty. And the idea that I have a gut feeling, I know who my brother's real dad is. Because the man looks just like him. And it almost makes me wonder if I was, yeah. The idea that there's been all these really fucked up games, I know my brother wanted to see how long it would take me to keep, would think I would keep a secret about supposedly him and his wife getting divorced and her going back to Japan or whatever at the end of the year or some shit like that. Only to find out from the folks that she's still been married. The idea that he's sitting there telling us, oh yeah, I gotta, take lunch back for them. Why? Was he cheating on my sister-in-law? I know my brother's been a hard worker all his life, and he's worked his ass off to get where he's at. And I don't know, but I've always loved my brother and looked up to my brother. Yeah, I viewed my brother as a golden child because I could never be like him. That's the difference. I don't view him as a golden child of the negative sense, even though I've already recognized he could never do wrong by my mom's eyes or my dad's. And why? Because my brother always worked hard. Almost borderline perfectionist in some ways. Very, very much an intellectual. He's not a stupid guy. You know, my brother's a good guy. But all this shit has brought up so many questions. And the fact that there was a slip about grandkids. There's a slip about a distant cousin of ours. Which had already put a hint into me about someone else. Because I know the relation's there. I already saw all that. Which I've already come to a realization it'd be kind of in a weird way. It'd be like my younger son to my older son's siblings. Yeah, that type of situation where it's like, yeah, there'd be a weird loose relations through maybe one of the parents, but actually have no blood relation. Sorry. Yeah, I'm my family's got some fucked up shit going on, and like I said, I've been learning some new things, and I've been having to put it together in my head and all this stuff, and it has slightly driven me crazy a little bit. But now I kind of am aware that, because yeah, I didn't really think about this stuff until I really started thinking about it. So yeah, that's why I'm sitting here going, okay, I know, like there's got to be no way, like I would be somebody else's kid other than my dad's because I share the same bullshit here. Where my older brother, more than likely, we don't share the same dad. I wonder, considering I know I have a feeling he watches this stuff. I wonder if the Cantrells or something like that sounds familiar to him. And I'm not saying this to even be rude to that family. It's actually not intended on them. But what the fuck with my family? Like, I'm questioning all this stuff. Like, all of this. There's all the links there. And I already know my aunt and them, because of the shit that they did and the things that they were doing or whatever, it drove a lot of my other aunts and them's out of the state. Like, to Hawaii and to Texas and places like that. Like, nope, we're done. Out. Getting as far away from that family as possible. What did they get involved in? What have they been doing? And doesn't involve my brother. And why am I a fucking target of all this shit? So, yes, I have a big question type thing here. It seems crazy to me. I want to categorize it as a theory. The odd thing is everything that I've been piecing together, I can get, or I already have, and I've already posted. So it's, yeah. Yeah. And when it comes to the vids where I showed the cryptography and stuff and all, I just unlisted them. They're not locked. They're just not public. They're unlisted. So all the vids that I've already posted that at one point that were public, they're unlisted. Some went to private. But, yes. Anyways, that's just my food for thought for today. I was going to upload a different one, which also showed the text message that showed, telling me, as long as I stay at, my folks' place, I don't have to worry about the grandkids. Okay, they had nothing to do with what I've been dealing with. And that was a slip. So, yeah, outside of the copycatting, the mead making, which I still actually have a jar of the mead that I made out in the fridge from a long time ago. before somebody else was doing it. The blacksmithing, which I've been doing for a while. I sure as fuck hope they didn't go fucking taking my generator shit. Yeah, I'm like kind of like overwhelmed right now in the sense that, yeah, like my family be that type of backstabbers. I'd like to go. I'd like to go, please. Because what is it in all this that they're gonna get by doing what they've been doing to me, let alone been doing what they've been doing to my parents, and showing up once a week or every other week to take them out to lunch to go basically hit on a fucking waitress or two at a fucking pub and act like your shit don't stink? Like, there's a reason why I chilled my shit out a long time ago and I don't really act that way. I'm a fool. I'm an idiot around people. I'm awkward. I'm strange. I'm all that stuff. But I don't understand the copycat and shit that's been going on. I don't get why some people have been watching my videos so adamantly like they're learning something from me. You know, where others are actually learning something. You know what I mean? Because good chance I have plenty of people on here that are watching that are not my family. I can tell you right now, if I was to count up roughly the people I just listed off, family specifically, let's see here. It'd be like 12, 13 people. So let's say 15 people. We'll just round it to 15. Right in there. So I've got to have about 15 or 16 of them in here, and I could probably name almost all of them. There's a good chance I could probably name all of them. From grandkids to siblings to cousins and aunts. Maybe an uncle or two. So, what did my brother find out while doing his genealogy stuff? Or what's going on with my parents? Like, what is it that I don't know about? Because everybody's been hiding something under my nose. And obviously, because I am on spectrum, it's been really easy. And yeah, sorry, folks. It was really easy to diagnose people with Asperger's as having schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder, especially back in the 80s when they didn't have those diagnoses at their hand with all the doctors. And the fact that my aunt, heck, my cousin, as in, not my son's, well, yeah, that whole thing, but his sister, my son's mom, all of them are well aware of this. There's been some really weird shit, and I've got a feeling somebody's been jumbling around with some shit in the fucking systems. Like, there's, yeah. I still have my birth certificates, thankfully, and all that shit, but I'm willing to go get some DNA done to prove who I am and who I'm related to, if this is what's got to be done. Like, there's some weird shit, and yes, it's involving people in my family very close to me, and the more I think about it, it's like, wait a minute. You obviously made a fucking slip. My family's into some dirty shit. That's very clear. I already know certain specific ones are very linked to very specific groups of people. And then to find out certain other ones are linked to very specific groups of people. And then other ones, as in where through my son's mom's family, is linked to another very specific group of people or two. And yeah, the idea, clearly my brother's in the mix. And I hate saying that out loud, but it makes sense why nobody else to come around, but he's the one that likes to come around. Hey, let's go have lunch, do all this stuff. You having fun, Joe? Thanks for watching, guys.